guys, we are going to be taking this old girl for a spin. I haven't ridden it in a while, so it did take a while to start up because I tried it, but now I did just warm her up a bit. It should start easy. And yeah, the old Goldwing 81. So we're going to take her for a spin and just see how she's riding. You know, this is the problem with when you have a lot of bikes, it's like you don't have enough time to ride all of them. On board the Goldwing. It's warming up nicely. I do have to fill up. So when I first got on this bike to start it, it took a while. Even with the choke on, it just took a while to get it going. But as soon as this thing starts working, it's like super smooth. You really realize the beauty of the Goldwing. Oh, it feels good to ride the Goldwing. You know, all winter I didn't ride it except a few times because this bike has got no wind protection now. A lot of people don't like that I removed the fairing, and I don't know, I think it looks way better. That's why I did it. And it's a nicer bike. I have the fairing, but man, when you get on a Goldwing like this, you go like, oh, that's why they call it a Goldwing. Everything about it is just so smooth. It's so nice to ride. Motoro sold his Goldwing, his GL1100, and he was trying to get another one, but yeah, man, Goldwings with carbs, especially that one, that's a pain in the ass. Just listen to this bike purr. He's just so... Look at this Pathfinder. You don't see those anymore. So rare to see those things. Whatever happened to all those Pathfinders? Oh, this thing. Oh, I love riding this. So good. But today in the morning I started it up. It took quite a bit of cranking. And I think it's just from being unused. And I always close the choke or the petcock when I don't use it. So the carburetor was dry. So I don't know why it took so long to crank up. It's a cool bike. And it does squirt you out of corners really well. And also, it doesn't help that I have these handlebars. The geometry really doesn't work too well with these kind of sporty handlebars. When you do any kind of like low speed maneuvers, it tends to be lumbering at best. But if you keep that in mind, this bike is fun. It's just more mid-speed sort of stuff. High speed, not so much. I mean, it does max out at 80. If you guys don't know, on this bike I bought it, I don't know, $700 or something. I went out to Hancock, Maryland, 2 hours away, and I bought it from a guy who bought it from a guy in Pennsylvania, that the guy in Pennsylvania bought it from a guy in Laurel, which is like near here where I usually do a lot of the Uber Eats delivery stuff. So it's kind of fascinating it came back to the general location. Of course, the GL1100 comes with the interstate trim. This is what this one is. It's the interstate. The 1100 also came in this naked trim, but this particular one was the interstate. And it was already made, like, from the factory. You know, you just added the fairings. But this one, it just feels so nice on a nice warm day. I think the one regret is that not having a windscreen doesn't let me hear the engine at these speeds. Like, I would have to crank it pretty high just to get a nice sound. But this bike, and like scooters, they're fun to ride slow. Like, I'm going 45 and it feels like I'm going fast. And it doesn't feel like it wants to rip my arms off. like the VMAX. I don't think I could live with the VMAX. On this one I could live with. It doesn't exhaust you. Like this one it's smooth. Now this geometry on this is not really meant for riding it aggressively. The new Goldwings are surprisingly nimble on back roads. But on the GL1000 and 1100, they were more cruiser oriented. So the geometry on it is harder to throw into corners. Check this out. This guy's got an airplane in his front yard. That's a whole different type of white trash. See that? Look at that. He's got an airplane right there. That's crazy. You know, usually just white trash have cars in front. He's got an airplane. I mean, that's a boss move right there. I forgot to mention it. I sold the Yamaha T-Max the other day. And if you don't know, apparently Moroccans buy Yamaha T-Maxes. Like my inbox was like flooded with these guys. I didn't make a lot of money on it, but I did break even, which is kind of like what I like. A lot of times you just break even. And I just got bad luck on that bike. I had to spend too much money. It was like one thing after the other. Fuel pump, clutch, belts, air filters, key. Ugh. It was a lot. It was a lot of work, and quite frankly, it gave me nightmares. I was expecting something a little bit more turnkey. Beautiful Damascus, home of cheap gas. I do like this town. This is on the outskirts of Montgomery County. Have to be constantly on the gas, especially on some bikes like this. When the suspension is not great, you always have to be on the gas so the suspension doesn't wobble as much. There are some bikes that are incredibly good no matter what, and I think the ST1300 is one of them. Maybe the new Goldwings, but this one, because I added the rear shock, that's just a spring, that doesn't help. But if you're constantly on the gas, it's absolutely fine. But because the handling of this bike is a little bit more lumbering, you have to go into things just a little bit slower. The brakes, I do have some steel braided brake lines I want to put, but you feel that girth, that weight going into corners. And if you are even doing engine braking going into corners in this thing, it starts to wobble because of it's just not meant to go into corners like a sport bike. And the handlebars are a little bit misleading because they feel sporty. They put you in a sporty position, but it's not really. You can ride it pretty fast though. Me realize I think I need a new Goldwing. Maybe like the GL1100, the first gen. That's the one that Yellow Wolf used to destroy sport bike riders and Tail of the Dragon. That guy's legend. Look him up. Yellow Wolf. God damn, this bike sounds so good. I just love this thing. Riding this thing is just so fun. Yeah, you can't go into corners as quick, but man, you have fun doing it. Yeah, it's like one of those bikes that if you get decent rubber
He'll do really well. It does pull you into the back, but it's so comfortable. If the wind wasn't hitting you, you would be like in heaven. Kind of wobbles at the corners if you're not on the gas. Well, that's the ride on the Honda Goldwing GL1100, guys. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. This thing is really fun to ride. It doesn't handle great. It's heavy, but it is a fun bike. And you should get this for the smoothness. It's ultra smooth. It's one of the smoothest bikes I've ever had. And I love the way it looks with the standard trim without the fairings, especially as it is warming up. It's always nice to have a bike like this that you don't have a windscreen. So that's it, guys. Hit like, subscribe. I'll see you in the next one.